Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Tech Urvashi. I hope in last video I've added ES6 features about array helper function. I hope you guys like this video. Now continuing with the ES6 features, today I'm adding one more video on ES6 feature where I'm going to talk about very important ES6 where I have added all the major important ES6 features like class, template string, object literal enhancement, destructuring, spread operator, right? So in this video, I've discussed about important concept. Plus, I've also included and talked about the important questions asked with that topic. Before we see ES6 features, don't forget to check out my interview preparation material. I've added the link in the description, so do check that out. Now let's get to the video.
Hello everyone. In today's video, we are going to continue with the ES6 features like classes, inheritance, spread operator, rest operator, destructuring of arrays and objects, property shorthand, object literal enhancement, and the template strings. So let's get to the Visual Studio Code to see all the features one by one. So let's start with the class. So very first thing is, so classes are like the blueprints, or we can call them like the templates for your JavaScript objects. So this is how we can create a class. Let's say class, that is a class keyword. Then we will have the class name, let's say university, and then the curly braces. So before actually getting to the syntax, let's understand why we need the concept of classes. So in older version of JavaScript, we have one concept that is prototype, where we create the function constructor, where we can create a method for those functions constructors. So we have prototypes to access and change their properties and the method values. So we don't have any defined way of object-oriented approach in the JavaScript. So with the introduction of ES6, we had some parts of object-oriented approach, that is the classes and the objects and the inheritance. So classes are like blueprint. They are basically the templates for your JavaScript objects. They are officially not the objects, but they are just the templates for those objects. So we can create them like class space class name and then the curly braces. So now let me just take some real-time example. Let's say you went to a university for your admission. So there you will fill some form. So you will enter your details. So now let's say I want to fill some details. So let's say first person came and fill the form. Then second person came and fill the form. Now if you see in both the cases, I will enter my first name and I will enter my age. I will enter all my details. Let's say the same properties, but the values are going to differ. So if you see the templates, that means the structuring is still the same. So age value is going to differ. So if you see the properties are going to remain same, the values are going to change. So this is the reason we need a common generic structure template which can handle all the data in one go. Because if let's say there are 10,000 students want to take admission, I can't create 10,000 objects for each student. Instead, I can just create a template that is classes. And so I'm just going to make sure that every student is entering the data and I don't have to create those same properties. Repetition should not be there. So being a developer, we need to focus on all these things. So all these features were not there in ES5 or the older version of JavaScript, but in classes we have. So this is how we create class. I'm taking the same example, let's say university. So here we write the constructor method, the very first thing. So constructor method is nothing but a special method to initialize the values. Values means the values, let's say what student is going to enter. So those values are going to come here and going to store inside the classes properties. Just like in functions, till the time we don't call that function is of no use. The same way in classes, so it will never come to line of execution to this or constructor automatically. So we have to create objects outside the class to access this class, constructor, or any other method. So I will just say const, let's say student1 came to take the admission is equal to new keyword. So we are going to create the object with a new keyword. So this is the another way of creating object. Const object name is equal to new, and then I'm going to add the class name and round braces. So this is how we create. So firstly we create the classes. These classes are going to be the templates for your JavaScript object. And let's say first student came and want to take admission. So const student1 is equal to new keyword, new class name and round braces. Now in this round braces, let's say I will just pass the name. Let's say Alina want to take admission in CSE department. So here, these value will automatically go here inside this constructor. So I'm just taking some variable, let's say first and department. Now here I can keep some other names as well. So it's like you're calling out the constructor method. Now this is the use of constructor method to initialize the value. So whatever the values user is passing from here, they are going to captured here always. So constructor is the nothing but a special method that will allow you to initialize the values sent by the objects outside the classes. So this is my class. Wherever this class is ending, I'm going to create objects outside. So first student came, Elena, and want to take admission in CSE. Now next question comes where these values are going to store. These values are going to store inside the properties of this university class. Make sure we don't create with any keyword const or var. We never create something like, let's say, department is equal to something. You are not allowed to write anything here. You cannot write anything like this here. So in this class, always the very first thing that comes is the constructor. Then we can create some other methods if we want to, but you cannot write these properties directly. So now next question comes how we can access these properties. So this is how we can access using this keyword. So actually when you look at it, you are officially not writing any property like I just said var, let's say department is equal to something. You're not allowed to do that. But eventually you're assigning values to the properties of this university class only. Let's say this dot first name is equal to first. So here this keyword, I think we know this keyword is used to refer to the owner object where the function is residing. So constructor is residing inside this university. So this will refer to the university. That means first name is the property of this university. Now after this, let's say this dot department is equal to DEPT. That means department is the property of this university class over here. Basically with this keyword, I'm able to access the properties of this university class, that is first name and department. And right side values are nothing but these parameters that I just received because of this. So the line of execution will be after 25, it will come to 136. Object will be created the moment we create the instance. So we call it as creating an instance or object for my class. So this automatically it will call the constructor method. So after this 136, it will go to 128 line. So this values will be passed here. So first we'll have Elena, DEPT will have CSE, and these values will be assigned to the property of this university class. And now how can we access? Definitely they all get stored inside this object. So if I try to do console.log of student1, so all this data, all these properties will become a part of this student1. So if I run this, so if I refresh, I can see this university is an object. That is what I said, student1. So this is student1 I've just consoled. So student1 is belonging to this university class. So here you guys can see I've consoled student1, so it's an object. Here I can see the prototype and I can see department and first name are the properties of this object. So now if you see the common properties that we have is first name and department. Now let's say some other student came to take the admission, student 2, and now I will just say new is equal to new university, and here I'm going to pass some value. Let's say now Alex came to take admission and he want to take admission in ECE. Now if I do console.log of student 2, so you guys will see now flow will be, after this 137 it will come to this line. Constructor method will be called again. Values will be assigned. Now new values will be Alex and ECE. So now for this object values are going to be Alex and ECE. So same template, so same properties but different values are coming again and again. So if I refresh, you guys can clearly see here this time department and first name. This is what we wanted. The values are going to change. The properties should remain the same. That is the reason we use this concept of classes. This was the whole idea of creation of this class concepts. Now this is how we can simply use this classes. Now after this we have another concept in this, that is inheritance. Inheritance is basically going to be a part of your concept of classes. For example, let me just create a class. Let's say class animal, like this. Now this is just one class and I'm creating its objects and trying to access its constructor method and its properties majorly. Now let's say there's a class animal. For example, even if I say in real time, we are the child of our parents. So we are inherited from our parents. So in the same way, classes are going to come in the form of parent and child. So I will have one parent class and then I'm going to create one child class. Let's say dog. So now this is how we do it. Just like in real time, like we inherit our some facial expression, some gestures, when someone say look like your father, look like your mother. So we inherit something from our parents. Besides that, we can inherit some assets as well from our parents. So in the same way, I'm going to create a class animal and then I'm going to say class dog extends. So this extends keyword actually means inheritance. And then you add the class from where it is inherited. Let's say from animal and then the curly braces. So whatever we write inside this and inside this class is going to be exactly same. The only difference is this extends keyword is included and a new class name. That means this class is called parent and this dog class is going to called as child, or we can call it as derived class. Now just like in real time, child can access parents assets, facial expressions, anything. The same way your child class can access parents properties and methods. Now if you see, a class has majorly two things: either it's going to be some property or it's going to be some method. So in the same way, this child is going to inherit either properties or methods. So this dog class can access parents properties and methods and its own properties and methods as well. Just like if you guys are going to earn something, so you can access your money and then you got something from your parents as well. And in terms of JavaScript ES6 here, I can say that class can have two things. Classes can have two things: properties and the methods. So here child can access, dog can access parents properties and methods and its own properties and methods. But the vice versa is not true. That means parent animal cannot access child's properties and methods. So vice versa is not true here. So animal is not going to access dog's properties and the methods. So now if you guys see, there is no point of creating any object or instance for animal, because if I create any instance for animal, it is going to access only animal's properties and methods. Instead, I can create an instance for a dog class, because I know for a reason that dog can access parents, methods and properties and its own methods and properties. So the very first thing we always create in a class is going to be constructor method. And here also I'm going to create a constructor method like this. So now after this, I'm going to create this instance for this dog class, because dog has more accessibility. Let me pass some value. Let's say Bravo. So Bravo, I'm passing the value. We know this value will be passed to this constructor method. So here I will receive this value. Let's say first name. So here I'm going to pass the value. So after this line, the execution will be this constructor method of this dog class. Now next question comes, how this class is going to access this parents constructor, that is a method and properties. So for that we use this super keyword. Now this super method is nothing but a special method which is going to call the parents constructor. So this call the parents constructor. So line of execution is going to be after 142 it will come to 157, then it is going to call the line number 155 and then line number 152, and then after that it is going to come to this 144, that is another constructor. And if you want to pass any value that you want to pass to this constructor, you can, otherwise don't. So let me just pass this first name value only, and this value will be received here, let's say with first. These are just the variable names that you're receiving in the parameters. We can keep any name here. Let's say this dot first name is equal to, let's say, first. Now let me pass some ID value from here, let's say 20, and it will be received here, let's say ID. Now this ID, let me just make this as the property of dog class. It's equal to ID. Now first name is for the parent and the ID is for the child class. So this here I can see first name is the property of animal class and ID is the property of dog class. Constructor method will come in both the cases and super is going to call the parent constructor. So now if I try to do console.log of D, now let's see the output. I can see D will have first name as well and the ID as well. Irrespective of the fact, first name belongs to the parent class. Here I can clearly see first name is the property of parent class and ID is the property of dog class, that is a child. Still, D, that is the object, is able to access both parents and child's properties and the methods. So this is the advantage of using the inheritance. Now, let's say I'll create some other method as well. Let's say speak method that belongs to this. I'll just say console.log of speaking. So now if I try to do something like d.speak, because D is what? The object that I've created for to access my child's class, and then I know that child class can access parents, methods and properties both. So I should be able to access this speak method through this D object. So if I run this, I can clearly see speaking has printed. That means I can access this speak method through this D object, which is the instance for this child class dog. So this is how we can use the inheritance in ES6. This is how we create classes in ES6, and we use this object oriented approach here by using inheritance as well, where we have this parent child relationship. And so the main thing that really need to consider here is the accessibility of these properties and methods. So the main idea of using this is because classes are like JavaScript objects templates. You will have repetitive properties, but values is going to differ. So properties are going to be same, but values are going to be different. So in this case, we can use this concept of classes. Now, next topic we have here is object literal enhancement. Now we know what are object literals. So basically, we have the objects and how we can make them better. So firstly, I have restructuring. That means restructuring of an object. From the name itself, we can say we are going to build something, structure something. Let's say I have some float variables, like the first is equal to, let's say, Duke. And then I will have, let's say, const age is equal to, let's say, 20. So I have these two variables over here. Now I will structure them to create into an object. That means from these variables, like a floating variables which are residing in the document, I'm going to create an object out of it. So this is how we can do. Let's say const person is equal to curly braces. And here I just have to pass these variables. That's it. And my object is ready. So if I try to do console.log of person, I can see the values. So if I refresh, I can see this person object, that is will have age and first as the property values. And this is an object. So from the floating variables, just like normal variables, we created an object. So we combine all the variables into an object. Now we can create object methods as well with this. Let me create a method here. Say const full name is equal to function, like this. So let me just say console.log of first. So this is called function expression. We are storing a function in some variable. So now I can just pass this full name as well. So if I refresh, I can see full name will also be a part of this object now, which is a function. So we can have object methods as well. So this function is also like a floating variable. So I just included this inside my object. Now, whenever we are defining these object methods, it is no longer necessary to use the function keyword. In ES6, we can avoid using this function keyword. For example, I'm creating an object. Let's say const person, or let's say user is equal to curly braces. So I'm just creating an object, normal object, and let's say designation is going to be developer. Let me add some name, let's say John, and I will just add some method. So this is how we add a method inside a object. So these are called object methods. So this is how we create them with the function keyword. But in ES6, we can avoid using this. So you just have to remove this function and this column. That's it. So this is equivalent to what we used to write earlier. So in ES6, there is no need to include this function keyword. So this will give you the same output. So if I try to do console.log of user, I will get the same output. That will have all the properties here. So if I refresh, I can see designation first and the information method as well. So due to the introduction of this object-related enhancement, we can avoid using function keyword in object method declaration. Now, just like restructuring of our object, we can destructure our object as well. That is destructuring of object. That means if we can restructure, we can destructure. That means breaking your object. For example, I have a variable, let's say user2 is equal to this. So let me just add some values. Let's say it has ID 42 and it has some is verified property, let's say true. So this time I have an existing object. I can now break this into floating variables. So destructuring is the opposite of restructuring. So in restructuring, you have floating variables and then you create them into object. Here you already have an object. Now you're going to break it into a floating variables. So this is how we can write const curly braces. Since it's an object, so we are going to use curly braces is equal to the variable name. That is your object name. Now here we pass these values. So let's say ID comma is verified. That's it. Now this is very important that you will use the same property name. So if it's ID, then use ID. If it's verified, use is verified. So now if I try to do console.log of ID, you guys will see now these variables are floating variables. They are like a normal regular variables. They are not bound inside a object anymore. So if I refresh, I can see 42 and true. Now these variables are not inside this object. Now I broke the object into a floating variables. So this is how we can use this destructuring of object. Next we have REST operator. In this REST operator basically allows a function to treat an indefinite number of arguments as an array. So let me create a function, let's say addition. From here, I'm going to call this method addition and I'm going to pass some values. Now, let me just pass few values out of it. Let's say 10, 30, 40, let's say 50. So I'm just passing some values from here. Now, after this, let's say these values will be passed to this. So these arguments will be received here as parameters. Let's say x, comma, y, comma, z, comma, u. So now if I do sum of console.log of x plus y plus z plus u. So now here you can see there are so many parameters I'm passing, and in future there might be case I have to pass 10, 20, 30 values. In that case it is really difficult. Then it will become a problem because I have to create a memory space for each variable, and there might be a case I might skip some variable. Let's say there are 30 values, so I might skip some value. So instead of having all these values in the form of these regular variables, I will receive these values in the form of array using rest operator. So this is how we use this rest operator using three dots, and then we pass some variable. It's our choice if I want to pass it like a, normal a, args, anywhere. So your in the back of your mind you can see args would be something like this 10. So I'm not creating it, but this is how values will be received: 10, 20, 30, whatever the values we have passed. So this rest operator is allowing a function to treat indefinite number of arguments as an array. So all these values will be received here as the array. So args will be my array now. If I try to console args, you guys will see it's an array. So here I can see I received all the values in the form of array now. Whenever you don't know the definite number of arguments, or there's a lot count of arguments that you need to pass, you can simply use this rest operator. And now if you see, if you want to do sum of numbers, we can simply use reduce method here. So this is how we can use the rest operator. Now next method we have is the spread operator. So rest operator syntax basically can be used with all the elements from an object or an array. So spread operator is something which is specifically for your arrays and the objects. When you want to include your array or object in some kind of a list, I can use the spread operator. So again, this is also used with three dots, but this is how we use it. So let me create a older version of JavaScript, that what was the issue and why it was introduced. So let's say I have one object which has properties as a as 40, let's say, and b as 30. Now let's say I have another object, let's say object 2. So I will create a copy of this object 1 into object 2. So this is how we can create a copy. So now object will go inside the object 2. So here I've created a copy of this object into object 2. Now if I, let's say, try to change object 1 dot a. So I've created a copy and I want to change the value of a property in object 2. So let's say I will just make it 20. Now if I try to console object 1 and object 2, now let's see the values. So here if I refresh, you will see in both the cases my object has changed, even in case of object 1 and object 2 both, because if you see, irrespective of the fact that I have changed values in just object 2, since I created this copy, that means in this line with this assignment operator, I'm actually giving the not just the values but the reference as well. That means both the variables are calling out the same memory block. That is the reason if I'm changing value of this object 2.a, it is also making the changes in the object, that is the original object. So now to handle this, we use spread operator. I will just comment this part and I will just say, let's say let object 2 is equal to curly braces, since it's a object, so curly braces will come, then add three dots and then the object name, let's say object, that's it. Now if I try to do console and if I try to change the value in object 2, I can see that original values will not be changed. Now this object 2 will be a different object and object will be a different object, means both are stored in a separate memory blocks. So if I refresh, I can see. Now let me comment this. So now if I refresh, I can see object 1 is like this and object 2 is like this. So now I'm not changing the original value in this object, but here values are changed because now they are calling out the separate memory blocks. So this is how we can use this spread operator. Now definitely rest operator has a different meaning and spread operator has a different meaning, but when you use it, they both look the same, three dots. But this is how you can remember. Spread rest operator is generally in this round braces, and spread operator is generally in the right side within these curly braces. Now we can use the same spread operator for the arrays as well. The only difference is we replace the curly braces with the square brackets for arrays. Now let's see, let me consider an array, let's say let 1 is equal to, I have some array values here, and let's say let 2 is equal to, I have some array elements here as well. Now, if I do let 3 is equal to, I can just write equal to square brackets 3 dots 1 comma. We can add as many arrays as we can. So if you see, we are actually merging, and we can say concatenating these arrays. And with that, you can add more values as well. Let's say while doing that, I want to add 60. So I can do that as well. So we can add all the, so we can do all the concatenation, merging and adding a new element in array in single line. Same goes here. We can add new property here. Let's say if I want to add some new value, I can add that here. Now let's see the output. If I refresh, you guys can see here you guys can see 67. That is the property I just added, is added here. That is 67. Now if I try to do console.log of 3 here, you guys can clearly see, I can see the new array which has all the elements and the new element as well in one go. So this is how we can use spread operator for the arrays. Now we can do destructuring of our arrays. Destructuring basically means, let's say I have an array. Again, let's say I have an array and then you have to break it into variables. That means even to these elements, I can assign some values. So this is how we can use const. Then square brackets will come because it's an array. Then you add some values here. Let's say array 1, array 2, comma, space, let's say array 4. This is how we can add. Is equal to the array value. So now if you guys clearly see the difference between destructuring of array and object is, there in object we use curly braces and here we use the square bracket, and here we use the square brackets. Second difference is, there we had the property name, here we don't have, so we have to explicitly create one. So 1 is going to be assigned to array 1, 6 will be assigned to array 2. Now if you are skipping any space, that value will be skipped here as well, and then array 4 will have 90 value. So if I try to do console.log of these value, let's say array 1, then array 4, then array 3, I can clearly see array 2, I can clearly see all the values will be here. So I'm actually taking out all these array elements value outside this array in some variables. So if I refresh, I can see all the values here. And this is very important, if I'm skipping any value in between, that value will also be skipped here. That means 8 will not be assigned to any variable here. Now the similar thing is, we can assign rest of the array to a variable. So let's say I have an array, let's say is equal to array value. So I'm considering the same array, this one. I want one element, let's say A should go in one variable, and I want rest of the element should go in another variable. So I will just use rest operator here. So I will use 3 dots and I will just put a variable name here. Let's say B. So here, if I try to do console.log of A here, you guys will clearly see that A will have the value 1 and B will have the rest of the elements in the form of array. Here I can see clearly. And you guys can see I use rest operator here. Now, next topic we have is the template strings. Now, these template strings is basically, earlier we used single quotes and double quotes, in JavaScript to create a string. But here we can use backticks. So let's say str is equal to, so this backtick is basically above your tab button in your keyboard. So you can use this backticks to create a string. So I will just say template strings in ES6. Let's say this is my string name. So this is how I can create this. So all these methods work on this, like string method we have index of, then we have property like length, all those things works here. So if I refresh, I can see the value is 22. So all those methods work here as well. Now let's say I want to do a variable and expression substitution. So this type of statement you guys will generally see in our ES6 code, that is variable and expression substitution. Now this is how we can do. Let's say let first val. So I'm just considering some variables. It's equal to, let's say, Elena. Then I will just say let last name is equal to Jen. Now here I will say, now if I want to do console.log or full name, this is how we do it. Let's say first name plus, then we add some space plus last name. This is how we can do. Now let's see the output. This is the older JavaScript. Now with the use of this template string, I can just replace. So I will just create a copy of this. I will just comment this. I will just going to use the backtext first to create my string. Then in this here, I will just remove all of it. So now here we use the variable and expression substitution. So firstly we use backtext. Then we add the string that we want to add. Let's say hi. So we add a running string here. Let's say hi something. Let's say comma. My name is. Now here we don't use plus and then we access these variables. Here we access these variables inside this running string. So I will use this $, curly braces, and then I will add the variable name. Let's say first val. And then I can have some space. Then again $, curly braces, and I will just say last name. Now in this case, you can see I don't have to do plus then breaks here. Here I can have just one running string, and wherever I have any dynamic or a variable value, I can just use $, and the curly braces and the value. So if I see the output, here I will get the output. My name is Elena Jen. So definitely, even if you want to work around with strings, this is a better syntax. And using backticks, again, it looks more cleaner than the double quotes or the single quotes. Now, the last topic we have here is the property shorthand. Now here, let's say I have a variable, let's say first. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me just use the same variables as these one. Now let's say I want to create a object out of these variables. So this is how I can create. I can use the concept of restructuring of object here. Like this. Now I can just write colon. So here first name is going to be my property name, colon, the value I want to insert here, let's say first name. So again last name is going to be my property and value is going to be this last name. Now let's say these values I can write like this as well, like Elena. So it's just that instead of writing Elena, I'm just using this variable which is already declared outside, like this. Now, whenever we have the same name of the property and the value variable, I can just write it like this. Let employee is equal to first name, val, and the last name. That's it. So basically, whenever we do the restructuring, we actually use this. In between, this one step comes, but actually we don't need to write it because it is understood that the property and the value both have the same name. That is the reason we are writing it like this. So if I try to do console.log of employee, I will get the object. So whenever we restructure it, this basically means first name is the variable name and the property name as well. So if I refresh, I can see the properties and the values itself. So it's like value is residing outside in a global scope. So instead of writing a value here like Elena, I'm just using this variable, that is this one, which is going to be the first value. And whenever you have property and variable value same, you can just wipe out this part. And this is how it works. So these are the main features we have in ES6. Definitely now next question comes, why we need ES6. So definitely it's advanced version, better version, we should know this. And majorly React.js. React.js uses ES6. So there you are not going to use for loops or older JavaScript methods or older array helper function methods. There we are going to use ES6 syntax. There we are going to use let and const instead of var keyword. So especially for React.js, ES6 is the prerequisite. And these are the main features that we should know before starting with React.js. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching my videos. If you guys like my content, don't forget to like, subscribe and share my channel. And don't forget to check out interview preparation material. I have added the link in the description. So do check that out. Thank you.